Pungios, this is gonna be as comprehensive as I can. We're gonna be going over all of the latest 360 cameras in the last few years from Insta360. I've got obviously the X3, I've got the X4, which was by far one of my favorite action cameras, and then the newly announced and released X5. I paid for all of these with my own money, so I will say that this video is sponsored because I do get a kickback for any of the affiliate links here that you see down at the bottom. I think the first thing that I wanna note is that if you've got an X3, jumping to the X5 is massive. While the X4 makes some incredible strides from the X3, the X5 doesn't make as many incredible strides from the X4. X5 has excellent low light. You can't even see in the dark at all on the X3. The X4 does a little bit better with a better f-stop and sensor, but now that you've got a much bigger sensor on the X5, I've got a bunch of different places here, and I wanted to be able to show you outside on my skateboard what it looks like with all three of them in some of the most common settings that you'll be using. With that said, let's go ahead and get closer up, showing you the differences physically for all of these devices, as well as going outside on location on my skateboard and showing what that looks like here. I did go over extensively an accessories video for all three of these products, so check those out in the links down below if you're curious. Let's go ahead and demonstrate this, show you what you're getting yourself into, and see if this is something you're interested in. I've done unboxing videos for all these products here, but the one thing I did want to note is that the X4 had the most accessories that it came with. It did come with its own little camera guard, although it didn't come with a replacement necessarily. It did come with this back here that I actually took off and put this aluminum rail, and it did come with a nice carrying case. Basically, the only thing that the X5 came out with was the carrying case, which has been updated. It has this little slot here if you wanted to put something in there. Otherwise, that's pretty much it. I decided to put here this little Ulanzi action cam mount. What's nice here is you have the grips here on the bottom, which allows for this piece to be able to grip onto it. So I have an action cam mount really easily on the device. When we're on location, I will be affixing it to this 2-prong here, which I'll put the 4X and the 5X on, and then I'll have independently on a separate pole the X3. On the X3, I added this little plastic mount here because I found myself bumping into it many times. Also this little silicone strap, as well as a nice tempered glass screen protector. It doesn't have the grooves, as you can see on the bottom side here for the X3. And then on the X4, I did have this little silicone lens mount because I did break the little tiny plastic guards that it came with. But having a little rig is nice, being able to have extra cold shoe mount and even a 1/4-20 if you wanted to mount it vertically. You can see on the bottom side here, there are mounts here for the quick camera mount, but I really like how on the X5, they added all the extra mounting for your device. I am a little disappointed that each iteration has their own battery, so now I'm gonna have 3 separate types of batteries for each unit. It seems like the chassis on the 4 and the 5 are very, very similar, although it seems a little bit longer as well on the X5. You have a lot of the same buttons, but some differences, including the charging port on the X4 was up here. It's now been moved down here, which is nice. You do have the extra wind enhancement microphone here on each side, and then you've got the battery banks here that are on the same side where you have access to your SD card, respectively. The sensor is bigger on the X5. The X4 is bigger than the X3, and the X3 does an all right job here now. At the time of this video, if you wanted to have an introductory 4K 360 camera, the X3 is still a fantastic product. They all still have the same boot up, long press and hold. They all boot up respectively. The one thing that I do have a problem with is I haven't been able to connect to multiple units at the same time on the app, whereas GoPro does a good job allowing you to connect to multiple units. I had to do one at a time if I wanted to control it from the phone, so just know that that's a thing. Each one of them has a very vibrant, bright screen. The X5 is obviously bigger than the X3 and negligible here on the X4. Okay, we're in a low light situation here. I'm in my studio. I turned all the lights off. I've just got some key lights here showing you some of the contrast. All of them are on a tripod. They're also 5.7K, 30 frames a second. I've got pure video on the X5, and the other ones they're on the regular video settings. It looks like the X3 is having a really hard time being able to have those low tones, especially as I step back. On the X4, it seems like it's also doing some extra computation. It's really sharpening the video quality. It's also a little bit more grainy as I get further back in the more dark areas of the studio. It's a little bit lighter over here with some light coming from my office. But this is kind of what you're going to be getting here when you are out and about on the low light conditions. We're coming on the other sides of my studio, showing you the variation in the audio, also where the split in the seam is, showing you what that looks like in this low light situation. Okay, I've got a singular light source coming from my monitor back there, as you can see. I was playing some Oblivion. Everywhere else is pretty much dark. I do have a couple of windows that is bleeding some light, as well as my office back there. I do have a little tiny light coming from my fireplace, but you can already see that the X5 does a great job here with the low light. The X3 and the X4 are having a hard time, although the X4 is able to give some good contrast here on my chest, but my face is really partially obscured. The X5 does a great job making sure that my face has plenty of light because of that pure video setting that is set up there, the bigger sensor as well as the bigger f-stop. It just makes for really good content here. As I move out and away, it is very dark, so you probably can't see me necessarily now when I go on the other side of the camera. I do have a little bit of a key light here as well as light from this monitor. If we go ahead and have the monitor moved away, it's kind of bouncing light now towards me. You can see how dark it is. Even as I come over here to my couch, you can see that the low light does a great job on the X5, and it looks pretty decent. It is very grainy still on all of them. But this is a way better option, especially if you're liking to make content at an amusement park, out and about, at dusk, at twilight, or if you're in an urban area that has lots of outside fluorescent light or light from the city. Okay, this is HDR on all three of them, 5.7K. Unfortunately, the X5 does not support 8K HDR, although it does support higher bit rate. This is the same mode on all three of them. As I skateboard on this path, you can see what that looks like with all three of them side by side. Mounted to my chest is a GoPro, which is going to show what it looks like, all three of them attached to two separate poles, skateboarding along this path, showing you what that looks like. It's kind of fun. Okay, we're showing what it looks like with the pole extended all the way out on the skateboard. HDR 5.7K. Not too bad. Wish the sun would come out. Both of them using the same output from 5.7 to 4K 30 respectively. We can go on a little hike here. Hopefully being able to get all, if not most of the pools wiped out. Insta360 does a great job with the software, making sure you're in frame, getting everything that you need. We get a fun little hike here, making it fun for all three of these. Gonna show with that cross frame what each one of them look like in HDR. On the hiking trail, this is the selfie mode, the single lens. It's basically using two lenses to be able to give me kind of the selfie walking shot. This is one of my favorite talking at camera options here. The X3 unfortunately only has it at 1080p, whereas the X4 and X5 have it at up to 4K 30. You can do 1080p at 60 frames a second. All three of them have it at the max field of view, giving you this kind of fun pocket camera selfie style shot, which is one of my favorites. Now I've just got the camera kind of stationary here on the pole. All three of these are on the regular video setting. On the X3, we've got it at 5.7 at 30 frames a second. And then on the X4, we've got it at 8K 30. It does say that it needs lots of wind as well as outside because it's going to overheat. And then the X5 is obviously the same setting here at 8K 30 as well. All of these are down resed to 4K 30. One of my favorite shots is this overhead shot in the air. I'm on my skateboard here, showing down on my face, kind of giving you this helicopter view. Then you can do some cool stuff in the software, giving you a really high cinematic look that's almost like a drone, depending on how you do it. Being on a skateboard makes it easy for me to be able to give you a really nice buttery look here and really high quality, high fidelity here for all three of them. You tell me which one looks best, especially having the Wasatch Mountains there in the vista of my town. Okay, the X3 only shoots 3K 100 frames a second in slow-mo. The X4 shoots 4K 100 frames a second. And then the newest upgrade here for the X5 is 4K 120, which is going to allow you to get some really buttery slow shots. And then in camera, there aren't really necessarily any additional settings that are much different, or specifically camera modes. The biggest difference is the X5 has pure video, which allows for that really nice low light buttery footage, which we will show separately from this triple comparison. One of the biggest differences with the X5 here is it does have this extra wind cancellation in the settings that you can turn on. I have it on, and the wind is actually pretty strong here, especially with the X3 that it has a hard time with the audio. The X4 does do some wind suppression, but on the X5, I think it's the best. Demonstrating right now with the wind going back and forth from each camera, you can hear the wind in the background. 4 is doing it digitally or through software, and then the X5 has a built-in hardware that will help reduce the sound and making it for nice content if you're someone who does sports and that kind of stuff. Okay, I've got pure video on with 8K 30. This is supposed to be good in low light. I've got a little bit of cloud cover here, and it could rain when I'm on my skateboard, and I also have the audio setting set to strong. There's lots of wind here, and I think it's really impressive that built into the chassis the ability for it to reduce audio wind noise. Showing you here, going a little bit faster, it looks really good. It's just a beautiful day. I have the 3-meter pole set up, and I think this is a really fun option for you if you are wanting to make really nice panoramic content, or if you want to just have a nice drone looking shot. You can do this here with this really awesome pole. So my favorite shot here, getting from behind is just fantastic. Your video is really, really impressive. Last but not least, this is one of the most unique features here on the X5. You've got this Insta view, which I think is pretty fun. It follows my face no matter where I place the camera, as long as I have a direct view of the device. It's able to follow my face and still give me that Instagram vertical view. You can also back out if you want and be able to get the full 360 view if you wanted to have that feature as well. With that said, I think it's pretty clear who the winner is. The X5 has a fantastic internal software to be able to give you the cleanest 360 output. I really like the new Instagram horizontal video as well as the 360 video, although you do need to have a lot of light. The low light is great, but I did notice that it does get very, very hot on the X5, whereas on the X4 and X3, it seems like the temperature is managed a little bit better. But being on my skateboard, you could hear that the audio sounded great, which I think has the seamless and highest quality audio on the X5. With that said, this video is sponsored because of my relationship with a lot of the accessories that I use today. I'll have a link to all the products down below. You tell me which of your favorite settings or your favorite camera was yours. I'm definitely gonna give it to the X5, but I can understand here why you'd be hesitant to upgrade from the X4 to the X5 because of the increase in price. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Andy with Tech Influence. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye.